Hello ladies and gents, Romie Reviews here. Please like, comment, subscribe. And yes, it's hot. Yes, I'm back in my car. Next week it'll be like regular, but for now just bear with me. This is my review for dun dun dun, The Haves and the Have-Nots, Season 5. Some people say Season 6, Episode 25. This is the episode where we see the burglary. So we see Candace and she's in the car, well, she's in the van with RK. And RK is still asking her, do you want to do this? Do you really want to do this, Candace? Because this is your mother. Like, and also, how do you know this guy? How do you really know him? Because I'm thinking, this doesn't make any sense. Why are you asking her, how does she know him, when you were the one that reached out to him? See, it's just certain things that don't make sense, but I guess we're not supposed to harp on it too much. Aside from that, and she's nervous. Candace is nervous because I guess she knows what this guy's capable of. And I'm thinking, well, if you're that nervous, why'd you go and put your mother in that type of predicament, in that type of situation for this to potentially happen? That's my whole thing with Candace. She is so concerned about self that every once in a while we see her care about the people, but it still doesn't pan out. Because while we have that going on, Benny's also calling her. Benny's calling her because you were supposed to go to the hotel, but he's there, she's not there, so now she has to go and lie to him and say, okay, she's on her way, she's on her way. While all that's happening, Hannah's in the house, she's getting ready for bed, and then the guy comes through. He comes through and he scares the life out of her. And I have to give it up to Hanna, because Hanna stood her ground for the most part. She really did stand her ground, and she really did protect her daughter, because she did that whole thing of, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, because the guy's asking, hey, do you know this person? I'm reaching out to you, I'm robbing you because she said that I can get the money from you. And I thought that she was gonna go and just give up Candace wholeheartedly, but no. Instead, she was just like, look, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have the money. It's not my money. I do not have the money. I do not own the money. She was using semantics so that she wouldn't have to full on technically lie, because what's happening is, yes, Hanna doesn't own the money. It's not hers. It's not hers. But Candace stole it from someone. And again, partially giving this guy information that he probably shouldn't have, because he can't be trusted, because he's a liability, as Tiffany would say from the YouTube show, The Show. But Hanna has to at least give this guy something, because she knows that if she doesn't, it's over for her. So she keeps trying to tell him, hey, I do not have your money. I mean, it's not my money to give. It's not mine. It's not even hers. So I don't know why you're coming after me. Of course, with the whole snibbling, like, oh my God. And he's not doing anything too serious, but he is scaring her. He's giving her the ultimatums like, look, here's how this goes. You're going to get me that money, because if you don't get me that money, then we're going to have some problems. And I'm just going to fast forward. At some point in their conversations, in her saying that it's not hers and that she doesn't have access to it, she knows the person who's the money is and all of that, she's able to convince him that, okay, it's Candace, I really don't have access to the money, let me be. And he was like, well, I'll be back. That was kind of his mantra. It was kind of this whole thing of, all right, I'll leave it alone for now, because remember, that's Hanna, the saint of the hood. Saint of the hood. So he's not going to treat her like some regular person, which gave Hanna the opening she needed. She was in the kitchen, so she saw a sharp object. It may have been a knife. She took that knife, and because before she was trying to run, she took that knife, lunged it into him. Lunged it into his shoulder, not into his neck, but into his shoulder, right by the neck area, like right in between almost, betwixt. Because of that, Hanna was able to save herself. I'm thinking, this dude's, compared to Hanna, this dude is large and in charge. That just sounds weird. But this guy would look like someone you would hire to go and rough up some people. So when he went and kind of keeled over, he didn't die, but he was bleeding everywhere and he was immobile. I'm thinking, I know that was a large knife. I know it went in, but this guy looks like someone who should be able to take a major hit and then keep on fighting. But I guess that wasn't the case. So now Candace has to worry about Benny really freaking out, because they're not dumb. They're going to figure out that this was a setup, that Candace, since Candace said, oh, Hanna has the money, that now Hannah's going to look at her daughter like, you evil, good for nothing. And that's what we saw in the previews for next week. And Candace knew that she shouldn't have done this, because something kept telling her. She was just like, she looked uneasy. I've never seen Candace that nervous in this show's history ever. She even felt guilty, because it was like, because RK kept saying, you know he's going to rob her. You know he's going to rob her. You know he's going to do this. You know he's going to do that. And Candace started to shake a little bit, because even though that was the whole point and premise, it's different when it's the whole point and premise for Hanna to just give up this information to be scared, and him to do something to Hanna in order for her to give up this information. Now, while all of that's happening, we have, let's see, Jim, who, there's two things that happens. He goes to the jail. He wants to see Wyatt. They finally let him in, and he talks to Wyatt, and Wyatt was just like, look, you have to get me out of here. You have to get me out of here. And Jim's like, look, don't worry. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on it. No, you have to get me out of here now. Or else what, Wyatt? Oh, so you were going to try and snitch on me and your mother. You were going to try and snitch on me and your mother, and to get you, to make sure that you were okay, and to make sure that you were free, and you think that I'm just going to sit here and let that happen? But Jim, he's sympathetic, because Wyatt keeps saying, oh, I'm sick, I'm not feeling well. And Jim's like, you're an addict, you're going through withdrawal. No, I'm not sick, I'm not feeling well. Help me out, help me out. And I said, oh, Jim's the softie. Jim's the true enabler. And he just guilts Catherine into joining the club. But it's really Jim. It's not Catherine, because I said, Catherine, she has a strong mean streak. So I could see her at least trying to go and stand up for herself when it comes to Wyatt, but it's Jim. So once Jim leaves, he goes, and because he learns information, he already knew that Erica was burnt up, killed. Jim has the information for the hospital, so he goes and sees David. But before we do all of that, let's talk about Jeffrey, because Jeffrey was a big deal in this episode. Jeffrey, he drives to his dad's house because Veronica just told him that, hey, maybe you should check on your father. And so he did. He went to the house and he heard about the fatality. Well, yeah, he heard about the fatality. It was like one person killed, and then your father was rushed to the hospital. At first, they weren't trying to give him that information because this looks like someone, it was an explosive, so someone tried to set him up. Once they found out that it was Jeffrey Harrington, then they gave up the information. Then he went to the station, not the station, the hospital, and I already felt, I caught this instantly. The guy, he's white, so there was this white nurse who was at the front desk, and so he brings Jeffrey in to see his father, and I don't know, the nurse, the male white nurse just had this look of, he's either gay or nosy. It's one of the two. And I'm thinking it's gay, but it could be nosy too. Well, he could be both, but you know what I mean, because he just kind of looked like, he looked like the type that there's something to it. Like, he's planted in there. This isn't just random, because he also talked to Jeffrey for a little bit, and I just thought it was so odd and so weird. And yes, it is normal, but something, when it comes to Jeffrey, it's normally what you think is going to happen with a new male character is exactly what it's going to be. So I'm going to put it out there. Now, Jeffrey, he's talking to his father, but David's in so much pain. David has burns. He has burns on his back, and they did a good job with the burns. The problem is, why is there no ointments on the burns? Why is he just exposed to the elements? His skin is going to try to heal. It's going to scab. It's going to tear. He's going to be freaking out. No amount of drugs that you give him will be enough for him to feel like, he'll be okay. And that's the part that confuses me. That's the part that I'm like, come on, we have to do better than this. We have to do better than this. You just plopped it there, gave him a bunch of drugs and left him. That makes no sense. David's trying to find out what happened to Erica. Jeffrey's trying to figure out again, who's Erica? And it was like, oh, that other, okay, because the nurse told him that, don't tell your father about the woman who died. So now, Jeffrey talks to him briefly. We know this is Veronica, but then Jim comes in, and Jim, I said, wait a minute, is Jim just a big old softie, or is he just manipulative? Because he went, hugged Jeffrey for a while, and I was like, oh, this almost feels like concern. And then says, all right, what happened? They're saying it's an explosion. Of course, don't bring up Erica. But they were talking, I guess David really was out of it, because they were talking in front of David, not in front of him, but around him, but the drugs kicked in, so apparently he didn't hear it. Okay. But we know Veronica's behind this. It's obvious. So we're not going to go and recount all of that. You know who else shows up? Justin, because while Justin's at the station, I don't know if this officer's also gay or if he's just an okay dude. But the officer tells Justin, hey, you know, David Harrington, he was involved in an accident with explosives, one fatality, and he's at the hospital. It's like, Harrington? And I don't know if it's because everyone knows who Jeffrey Harrington is, or if it was just information being put out there. So we have the hospital explosion, and then there was another thing. So Justin wanted to go to the hospital. He goes to the hospital. While Jeffrey is trying to have a moment, he sees Justin in the corner of his eye, and that's where we know things are going to get worse, because now Jeffrey feels like Justin comes in, and David did talk to Jeffrey a little bit. David did say that it's because of him enabling his mother, and she was a mean-spirited, evil person, and she did harm to other people, but he just stood by, did nothing, and now it's coming back around to him. Don't make the same mistakes that I did. That's what David told Jeffrey. You know what Jeffrey does instead? He goes, talks to Justin, and even though this time around he's telling Justin, look, I don't have time for this, because Justin said, look, I'm here to support you. You know, I know it's maybe bad timing, but I did go and do something to your mom. What do you mean? I did go and run her off the road. You know, it was just to teach her a lesson. It's like, teach her a lesson, and that's when, I don't know why it took this moment, but this is when it clicks with Jeffrey that, oh, this dude is just no good. And so he tells him to leave him alone, give him some space. Justin is at the jail now. He's back antagonizing Wyatt and telling Wyatt about how he has this stronger stuff. It's much stronger than the stuff that he's used to, and that he may actually, essentially this stuff is so strong, Wyatt could die. Wyatt could die, Wyatt could OD, Wyatt's saying he'll take less. He's just teasing Wyatt though, because he knows Wyatt's an addict, and he hates the fact that Jeffrey loves this guy and just adores this guy, and this guy's an addict, he's a mess, he's a complainer, he's mean-spirited, he's awful, he's actually not a good person, and Jeffrey still loves him. Like, hey, you're all those things too, you're not any better. After we deal with all that foolery, next off, we have, who do we have? Veronica. So Veronica, she finds out the FBI comes. So because it was explosive, so the FBI takes over. The FBI comes and asks Veronica a couple of questions. One, the guy, he's black, and Veronica sees him as attractive. So she's talking about how, first of all, David's my ex. Secondly, we are, what's the first thing? So David's her ex. Secondly, she doesn't care about him. She's laughing at the fact that, oh, so what happened? He blew up. Oh, so he died? No, he's still alive. Oh, pity. I'm saying Veronica. Veronica, really? Veronica, what are you doing? I guess I respect the consistency, but what are you doing? Because now they're going to look at you. You know what? Veronica knows she doesn't care. So they're asking her questions, trying to lead her in and see if she's going to go and, expose herself. Because it was like, does your husband have any enemies? He has a bunch. Me for one, but you have to think about it. He is a judge. So as a judge, he's accumulated a list of people that don't like him. He's put away probably a couple of hundred people who would love to go and do something to him in retaliation. And Veronica puts that out there. So that is true, but that's not all. That's definitely not all. We have to consider her as a suspect. So Veronica's like, oh, me a suspect? Well, I guess she can be right about that. No, she didn't say that, but she was just like, I would love for something to happen to him. I mean, I would never kill him, but something bad is okay. And I'm thinking, Veronica. But they were looking at her house. She was like, don't look around. You said you came here to talk to me. Don't look around. Do you have a warrant to go and actually search the premises? And they were like, no, but we can get one. Well, let's see if you actually can. You know, I'm a lawyer too, so this isn't something that's just gonna go as smoothly as you think it is. And then they go and leave because they can't get much else from her. They just know that she's angry and doesn't like her ex. But that's not enough for a actual conviction. I'm thinking, why not? Anyway, she goes and leaves and kind of acts like, dang, pity. But oh well. Erica's dead, so that's all that matters. I feel like that's really Veronica's mantra. Erica's dead, so that's all that matters. Who else? Who else had some mess? Hold on. Jim is complaining to Catherine about, we need to go and get our son out of jail now. Do you remember what happened to him the last time? Yeah, and Catherine said, yeah, I do, and that was because of you. That wasn't because of me. And so Jim was like, the point is, he cannot last in there. Catherine's whole thing is, the point is, he needs to be accountable for his actions for once in his natural born life. And we can't keep enabling him, Jim. He's an addict. He is a mean-spirited person. Why would we go and continue to go and support that? And it's like, well, what if he goes in there and flips on us? Well, then if he flips on us, he flips on us. So then this is when Jim also puts it out there that, you know what happened to David? What happened to David? So David, him and this girl that he was seeing, they're blown up. What? They're blown up? Yes, they were blown up. And Catherine was like, oh, I hate Veronica. She always has the best ideas. I said, Catherine, really? Really, Catherine? Really? But she said, yeah, Veronica always has the best ideas. I'm tired of that being. But Catherine's over it. She's over it. She's over her son. She's over Jim. She's over all of them. I feel like Catherine, if she could, she would just move and start all over with her millions. Give Jim a couple of millions and call it a day, because it's too much. It's too stressful. Of course, Benny's still in danger. Now he's at the hotel waiting for Candace, even though Gia was told to go meet up with Benny. And hopefully that happens soon, because next week we're going to see that Mitch is going to reach out to Benny and say, hey, the ops is still after you. Oh yeah, and Charles won. Charles won the election, which means that he now is the president of the United States. I don't know if Candace is going to make it to be First Lady. I have no idea, because she's been running this power trip and this train of screw you, screw you, screw you. We'll see. Let's see, was there anything else of substance or importance? So yeah, I think that's it for now. If I missed anything, leave it in the comment box below. Please like, comment, subscribe. Come back next week. I shouldn't be in my car by next week. I should be in my regular setup. And yeah, let me know what you think. Oh, and I'm doing my Greenleaf review, so go and support that too. Thank you.